course, it's closer to home for an Indian student. It's just about 3 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours of flight time. Parents feel safer sending their students, their children to some place closer. Should learn some conversational Japanese. N5, N4 levels of Japanese is good enough. But of course, if you go up to a proficient level, you just increase your employability. There are ways to really, ensure that you are getting that accommodation. Take part in a lot of activities within the accommodation if they have, specific building related. There's also a diktat by the government to not, for universities to not engage in active recruitment visits. So universities are not traveling anymore for active international student recruitment.
Hi, I am Sashwati Sarkar and you're watching The Times of India. If you're considering countries like Japan, Germany or the Netherlands for higher studies, this conversation is packed with insights you wouldn't want to miss. Starting from rising language requirements and scholarships to city-wise part-time job tips, we have you covered. Helping us decode it all is Namrata Pandey, founder of La Mentora, a premier consultancy that has guided thousands of high schoolers towards their dream destination. Welcome to the show, Namrata. So Namrata, you've mentored thousands of students from different backgrounds, varied backgrounds for decades. If you had to sum up how global education has evolved for Indian students, how would you sum it up? What would you say? More competitive, more confusing or more exciting?
I think all three of them. Though, it's moved from more marks driven to a more holistic and narrative based admissions. So students really need to not only work towards good marks and grades, but also work towards building their narrative for an application, do a lot of extracurricular activities, and kind of really show their interest in things beyond academics now.
So Japan is emerging as the next big study abroad destination in for international students, including Indians. Why do you think so? And also, currently I am seeing two top universities from Japan are stepping up after this Harvard ban happened. So also I would want to add to this question, do you think a few Hong Kong universities also had stepped up? They opened their doors to students from Harvard who are in trouble. Do you think there will be an eastward shift in global education? First, let's deal with this, with the Japan question, where Japan is it emerging as the next big study abroad destination?
Yes. Initially Japanese universities weren't really marketing themselves very well. Of course, they've been high-class universities in Japan from time, long
to be, otherwise
back,
they wouldn't evolve.
But it's also high-quality education, very STEM, AI, design-driven universities, all of which is very important nowadays. The government is doing a lot to promote Japanese education, and they've realized that they do need international students within the campuses for a more, it's a more diverse understanding and different perspectives. International students bring a lot of diverse perspectives into the classroom and what things may work. So yes, Japan is really coming up as a destination, and I do understand with whatever is happening in the West, say Canada or more presently in the US, there is definitely parents are looking for other universities, other countries, other avenues. Also with the coming of other foreign universities within India, the landscape is evolving very, very quickly now.
So Japan versus other emerging destinations like the Netherlands, Ireland. So how would you rate them, the emerging destinations?
Japan versus other emerging destinations. I think the other destination you mentioned, Netherlands and Ireland, you said? Yeah. So both Ireland and Japan, if you look at it, the government is really putting a push towards recruiting more international students. When you have the support of the government, then it becomes easier for everyone. You know, we're seeing what's happening in the West again, US. There's a lot of pushback. So government pushbacks there is someone else's win, because international students, as I said, you know, increase the class diversity and perspectives. Netherlands is facing a lot of issues with the government, because government is clamping down on English taught programs, which is, you know, which an international student would need. And also what they're doing is there's a lot of housing issues. Canada is facing housing issues. Government, wherever the government is not with the universities or the higher education sector, that's where trouble starts. So yes, you know.
In terms of job opportunities, like if I say, you know, Ireland, Netherlands and Japan, which could offer like Japan has a robust economy. Mm-hmm. In terms of Netherlands, like if we compare that with Netherlands and Ireland, will Japan be a better alternative study abroad destination?
See, Netherlands offers a variety of courses, liberal arts, social sciences, all of it. Of course, Japan also offers them. But if you're looking at more of high-tech job opportunities, I think Japan is very good. Where it's a leader in technology. If you look at things being made, technopreneurs, you know, tech student people, Japan is the leader, you know. As far as Ireland is concerned, with the Brexit happening, Ireland is one of the English-speaking countries of Europe other than the UK. And with Brexit, many companies are opening up their offices in Ireland, you know, in Dublin and other cities of Ireland. Hence, there's a requirement going to be of a lot of workforce within Ireland. So, of course, you know, again, as political scenarios change, how governments work, it has a ripple effect across every sector, and education is also one of those sectors. Yes.
The eastward wind that I was talking to you about with Harvard, with this Harvard ban, and also other universities are also apprehending something similar to happen to them. Do you think there can be an eastward shift in global education?
I think yes, definitely an eastward swing will happen. Or even, you know, more, even if you're looking at the West, they won't go beyond UK. I see a lot of inquiries coming in for, of course, Singapore has been a leader. Hong Kong now, after the last few years, after COVID is over, Hong Kong is becoming another, you know, going back to being a preferred destination. You know, because again, the government is increasing the number of international student intake even in, you know, within Hong Kong. So again, there's a lot of support from the government and the trade ministry, the commerce and the trade ministry within Hong Kong. So I think, of course, the eastward trend is going to be there. Japan is around. The other destination that I see really coming up is going to be the Middle East, with a lot of
UAE, Dubai.
Yeah, Dubai, Qatar. So we've got American universities with their campuses now in Qatar and Abu Dhabi. So we've got Carnegie Mellon there, we've got Georgetown there, we've got Northwestern in Qatar, we've got New York University with its campus in Abu Dhabi. So all of this kind of a shift is going to shift from the West and come more towards you know, institutions. Within India, we've got Southampton opening up in a campus in Gurgaon. So of course, you know, all the universities from the West opening up the campuses. The East also, of course, is closer to home for an Indian student. You know, it's just about 3 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours of flight time. Parents feel safer sending their students, you know, their children to some place closer, some place that is, they feel that the child is safe. And all of these are great alternatives to the West, yes.
What level of Japanese language proficiency is required for academic success in Japan? Can students survive only with English in class?
So, most students will join an English taught program. what it essentially means is that the medium of instruction within the university is going to be in English. However, surviving in the city and country, and being able to even look for part-time jobs, because you're allowed to work 28 hours per week, one would need to have at least the basic level of Japanese, which is N5. So I would say that students who are looking at Japan should learn some conversational Japanese. N5, N4 levels of Japanese is good enough. But of course, if you go up to a proficient level, you just increase your employability. That's it. But surviving within the campus, because most students are going to go in for an English language program, it's not necessary. But some universities may ask for a Japanese.
Is there a test also for Japanese language proficiency?
Yes, there are 2 tests. They may ask for an EJU or the JLPT, Japanese Language Proficiency Test. But that's very rare. Not many universities ask for this. But if you're going for an English taught program, they may ask you for an IELTS or TOEFL, which again could be waived off basis, the curriculum that you are in. And yes.
Are there specific scholarships for Indian students in Japan? What are they?
So for scholarships, of course, you have university-specific scholarships. So every university can give
institutional grants, you mean?
Yes, institutional scholarships, which could have a separate application or could be considered automatically as the student applies. There are some, scholarships which are run, one is the MEXT, MEXT, and the other is the JASO. So JASO gives you monthly allowance, and MEXT is more for academic and tuition fee. But yes, these are government-run scholarships, and students are eligible to apply for them.
So let's talk about part-time work. Are there specific cities in Japan where students have better chances of landing a decent part-time job? And what are the legal do's and don'ts for acquiring a part-time job in Japan?
So cities that are more populated or are tourist attractions, so those will definitely have more jobs anywhere in the world. So, because most of the jobs are going to be in cafes or, as in retail store shops, or, even in Japan, another good way to earn money is to teach English. Okay, so I think that's a huge, you learn.
So you need to know both the languages, Japanese and English too.
Yeah, an Indian student would definitely know the language, the English language, and they would have taken tests, and they have been, students here have studied in English medium. So I think teaching English is also a great job opportunity. Added to that, as I said, cafes. Now, if you're going into a cafe or you're going to be in a retail showroom, learning conversational Japanese is going to be an added advantage for your employability. So I think, as I said before, N5 level, N4 level should be what the student should look at and go through a structured learning course. Of course, there are apps like Duolingo and other apps that teach you the language. But if you could go through a structured Japanese language training, that should be good for students. They're allowed to work 28 hours per week. So that's the legal requirement. I mean, the limit.
So we know that Tokyo is not cheap. But what about other cities? Are there student-friendly cities in Japan where the cost of living is manageable and the exposure is still great?
Yes, of course. Osaka, Kyoto, Fukuoka, these are some student-friendly cities. I would also say that, always live at university accommodation, because private accommodation is very expensive outside.
But sometimes it gets difficult to find, campus accommodation, right?
So most universities will give guaranteed accommodation to international students, at least for the first year. And then there are ways to really, ensure that you are getting that accommodation. Take part in a lot of activities within the accommodation if they have, specific building related, or homes or whatever they call it. And that's true for even places like Hong Kong, because Hong Kong is also very expensive as a, it's, yes. So living in Hong Kong.
That's a smart way of, extending your stay in the campus.
Yes, yes.
Very good piece of advice. So let's shift our focus a bit to Netherlands now. We were talking about this destination a while ago. So now the Dutch government is getting strict about language. Now we're expecting even immigrants to learn Dutch. How is that playing out for students?
I think I did hear news about them cutting down English taught programs by 80%. So
Why are they doing this, by the way?
they don't want so many international students. It's causing a housing crisis. Rentals are going up. So those are some reasons why they do not want students. So the best way is to cut, English taught programs. We are yet to see how that plays out within, because it is a very good, destination for everything.
Liberal arts too?
Liberal arts, Socrates, of course, Dutch. So I think the Socrates method of teaching liberal arts found has been part of the Dutch education system for a long, long time now. So liberal arts, social sciences, psychology, business, finance, technology, everything is very, very good in Netherlands. So of course it's been, and it is affordable. So it has been a favored destination for a lot of students. But the one is English programs being really being brought down by. There's also a diktat by the government to not for universities to not engage in active recruitment visits. So universities are not traveling anymore for active international student recruitment. And the third is, accommodation crisis. So
all this combined together.
It's very sad because it was a very, very good destination for all students, especially from India. Yeah. Again, I would say anyone going to any European nation which has a language which is commonly spoken, be it Spain, be it Italy, be it France, learn the language. Survival becomes so much more easier when you
are able to build a stronger connect with the local people.
Yes, and also if you're looking at internships and you have an internship. A psychology student is interning in a clinic, maybe even taking clinic notes. If you do not understand the language, how are you going to do that? So I always advise students that if you're looking at Europe, you should definitely look at learning the language early on.
If we look at Germany, it's free or low cost. That's a huge pull for international students, especially for a price-sensitive nation like India. But the academic system can feel like a whole new world. What stumps Indian students the most? Grading, final exam formats, or something else entirely in Germany?
So in Germany, much to the myth going on that it's zero fees, undergraduate students, students who are going straight from high school into a bachelor's degree program, the fee is zero only if you attend a university where they teach in German language. So things like ETH Zurich.
Myth.
Yes. So ETH Zurich, all programs, bachelor's degree programs have German language, and the proficiency has to be at the level of C1. C1, C2 in some places. And if I make a comparison, the IB teaches German language, and even if you are at a standard level of German language in your IBDP, you may just about make it to the C2, just about. That's not a guarantee. that you'd clear the because you have to take the exam, the German exam to learn the language and have that proficiency.
Is this the same with PG courses, postgraduate?
PG courses are all in English. So that's where, students who are looking at Germany should definitely look at master's programs in Germany.
But there also the tuition fees are...
That's zero, yeah. Or as low as 0 to 500 euros.
But there must be other hidden costs as well.
Of course, living and accommodation is.
And apart from these two, living and accommodation.
So personal expenses, books, library. So
labs.
All of those definitely will come in.
Are there any development fees or something like that they charge the universities?
No, I mean they're pretty well. Yeah, they're funded well. But I think also a lot of German universities across the world have campuses in Germany, and there are some private universities in Germany that have lower fees than any other country. So it still is an option, but if you're looking at the public universities in Germany, most of them are only they're taught in German language. They do allow a 9-month course that students can go, take that 9-month course, learn the language, and then study in a public university, but study in German language. But my question, and students feel very excited about it, parents feel very excited about it, but just a thing to ponder about is, I speak Hindi at home, that's my mother tongue. I don't think I could take a physics lesson or a chemistry lesson in Hindi, because the academic terminology is very different, and what we speak at home, we speak very colloquial language. It's not really well grounded. Hindi medium students have a different understanding and level of Hindi, and would we be able to study?
Now the CBSE has rolled out this mother tongue first approach.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to pan out.
Yes,
it's studying various subjects, like say a geographical term. The glossary of every subject is very different.
Yes, that's being debated quite a bit. Yes. And I'm just, and I wonder what will happen to students whose parents are in transferable jobs. For example, an army officer's child, or someone who's in the civil services, or anyone else whose parents, even the corporate side, where would they go? Children who change schools very often, move cities very often, into different states, and they are primary students. How are they going to cope up with?
In terms of part-time jobs, are there particular German cities you recommend for students looking to work and study?
Again, as I said, the most famous ones, Berlin, Frankfurt.
But the cost of living is very high. Must be very high.
It's like, living in a Delhi or a Bombay.
It is vis-a-vis living in Kolkata.
Yeah. So I think, but still, if you have better quality institutions there, you can cut the costs of living by not taking a single room, taking a shared accommodation, cooking yourself and not eating out. There are things that students can do to cut costs of living.
At that age, I think people don't feel like, I myself personally, still now I can't cook. So, and at that age, like when I was in my teens, like a 19-year-old or 20-year-old, 22, I was in Kolkata till the age of 24. I couldn't imagine myself cooking, because I would always be out, not for studies, but for my adda sessions with friends who, like, I sometimes, the moment you say this, I just thought to my mind, if I were in Germany, or a very expensive city, where I wouldn't be able to afford a cook, what would I do?
Oh, they have these supermarts, superstores, and
ready to eat,
heat and eat food, and or that. Even places where you can pick food. There's hot food available, and especially I've just come back from the US, and just below where I stayed, there was this store, and you could just go and pick out the food. They'll weigh it, and it's hot food. You can sit outside, have your meal, no need to cook, because by the time you cook, you pay your gas bills, you pay your, get grocery, and spend that time to cook and clean after you cook. I think that was such a more convenient way to do it. And then you're also not spending money in a restaurant where you're paying for everything
these are
else.
cheaper options.
These are cheaper options, yes, definitely much cheaper options that one could look at. Or just take, Indian theplas from here.
So every country comes with its own invisible curriculum, the stuff no one tells about. What are the biggest cultural or classroom habits that surprise Indian students when they go abroad?
I think the freedom so they're very approachable professors. Okay, professors are on first name basis.
Okay.
Which comes as a shock to most Indian students, because we've always been brought up in such a hierarchy.
That we are taught that our teachers are gods.
Gods, yes. I mean, they are gods in their own right, and even overseas, but the gods can be called by their names. So I think that really strikes them as different. The other is a lot of self-study. They are encouraged to explore the curriculum on their own within certain guidelines, which at times Indian students find very difficult to do. So now with the international curriculum, words like plagiarism are common, people understand, students understand that. But a student from, say, a national curriculum would not understand what plagiarism is and how do you avoid plagiarism. I mean, of course, you can quote someone, but you have to give credit to that person you quoted. So they may find that a little difficult. And I have heard stories of students being called out for plagiarism, put on academic probation, and if it's repeated, being asked to leave the university. It can get that bad. So I think those are some of the things that students find very difficult to adjust to. So plagiarism, self-directed study, you're given 3 articles or 4 books. The professor gives you a question, says read the material and send me an essay in your own words where you've not copied from anywhere else. Of course, now with AI tools like ChatGPT or Perplexity or all of these, still there is a lot of, universities will have software to identify AI written, generated or not. And also I think if you do use AI, you have to mention that I am using AI. So plagiarism also has, really kind of evolved.
I was just going to say that.
Yes, it is evolved in the sense they do allow some stuff, especially everyone has to evolve now. What I would suggest students is that before they go from here, and especially students with CBSE and the national curriculum or any state curriculum, where there is no practice of writing original essays.
And that's an exception with West Bengal board. We had to write, from 5th standard, we would be given, say we were taught Daffodils by Wordsworth. I read it when I was in my 4th standard. And I had to write questions and answers on my own. Like teachers would give questions, write, say there are 3 questions from Daffodils itself to write.
Yeah. So many curriculums don't encourage that or do not teach students. So I would say learn academic writing before you go. Learn how to reference before you go. And there are many providers for that. They could take short-term courses and learn how to write. And once you're at the university, each university has an academic writing center where you must go and take help for academic writing. I think that's one thing students forget to do before they get to college. And they do struggle. So why not prepare yourself? You're taking that leap of faith and going to a university overseas. Even liberal arts colleges within India, say an Ashoka or a Kriya or an Ahmedabad university, all of them will follow the same standards of international, for academic honesty and plagiarism. So learn that before you get to university. And I think
that's a very valuable piece of advice.
Yes.
That everyone, because in our case, in our times, we were trained like that in my board. So from a very tender age, from class 3 or 4, we were required to write our own answers, not only for literature papers, but say for a history. So there would be questions, a set of questions given by the teachers, and you have to prepare answers on your own. And those times there was no Google also, forget AI.
Yeah. And there's more of analysis of everything, like in English, they won't ask you straight reference to context kind of questions. Right. That's what ISCA or CBSE trains students. I think analyzing and using your arguments to support...
Creating parallel text, that's
yes.
very important.
Yes. And supporting your arguments with evidence of reading. So I tell students, write reflections, if you read anything, write your own views about what you've read. If you listen to a podcast, write your own reflections on what you've understood of that podcast. Don't just give a kind of a snapshot, synopsis of it. We don't want a synopsis. What we need students to be trained on is really being able to analyzing and using the real good grey matter they have, So, of course, that is prep for getting to university.
So that brings me to the final question of this very informative and very, what do I say, the piece of information that we got about the German universities, the fee part and the language part. It's a very informative conversation that we had. And the suggestions that came out were really, really very, very valuable. So the final question would be, what would be your one piece of golden suggestion to Indian high schoolers dreaming of a global degree? And what would that be?
I think look beyond the rankings. I think we are such a ranking-driven country, very ranking-obsessed to a point where just the top 10 would do and nothing else. They're real hidden gems. And there's a concept that we follow in the higher education, there's a phrase that we used, best fit. So like every shoe, the same shoe does not fit all. Some need more arch support, others need, something else. Make yourself understand who you are and which university fits your needs. And avoid herd mentality. Everyone is going here, so I should also go here. Look beyond the rankings and really, really work towards building a personality and extracurricular interests outside of the curriculum. However, remember that academic prep and marks matter everywhere. But yes, everything else also matters. So that's the core, academic prep. So don't think that because we're not applying to India, I'll get into a great university in the UK, US, Australia,
even
anywhere.
if my grades are not good. No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Your extracurricular activities will give you an edge over others, maybe.
Absolutely.
But your core should
be there, and you have to study hard. And get off Instagram.
Thanks a lot, Namrata, for joining this conversation.